Good morning, bonjour from France. Today is Saturday the 15th of February 2025 and I am currently just outside the town of Villers-Bretonneaux, which for Australians was a very important site during World War I. And the reason I've come here is because my great-grandfather on my father's side was killed near here in March of 1917. So this wasn't really part of the research plan for this trip, but I figured, seeing as I'm here, it would feel remiss not to at least go and acknowledge the memorial where he has a plaque, because and the reason he has a plaque and not a grave is because he was basically buried where he fell in the trench he fell in. Go for a walk and have a look around and come with me if you feel like it. Okay. I'm the only one here. The visitors centre is closed for maintenance. I'll just do a little spin around. It's very cold and feels very sort of sad and lonely, which it's nowhere near as sad and lonely as it was for those poor men who fought and died here. So anyway, let's go see if we can find his thing on the wall. Can you see them all? So there was something like just shy of 11,000 Allied soldiers fell here and have no known grave. We're looking for the 28th Infantry Battalion. 11,000 men, can you imagine? It just feels so unimaginable to me. So my great-grandfather was 40 when he died here, which was quite old, I suppose, for a soldier. So that inscription reads, "To the glory of God and in memory of the Australian Imperial Force in France and Flanders, 1916 to 1918, and of 11,000 who fell in France and have no known grave." So when he died, he'd only been married to his wife for 2 years. So I guess he was a bit of a late bloomer. And he had an 8-year-old and a 3-year-old, I think, left behind at home. Here we go, 28th Infantry Battalion. There he is, Jane Moran. I'm just going to flip this around so we can see it. So, 28th Infantry Battalion. Excuse my wobbly camera. Oh, gone too far. There he is, there. James Moran. Someone's put a little Aussie flag here, which is great. Just feels like such an insignificant way to remember someone who died fighting a stupid war. sure about the gravestones down there, whether they are for the ones that did have a body. Anyway, there you go. So unfortunately, the month of February they closed the John Monash Visitors Centre here, which also means they've closed that tower. Normally you can climb up in that tower, and on the website it said you still can. So a little bit disappointed that I came all this way and I can't go up there, but anyway. It's pretty cold. It's about 0 degrees, I think. It's -2 earlier, but I think it's warmed up a touch. And I'm rugged up in my duck down, or whatever this is, down jacket, my woolen underlayers, my scarf, my thermals. And it's still pretty cold, and I cannot even begin to imagine what it was like for those soldiers in this temperature, in the clothing that they had, which can't possibly have been adequate. And when James turned up in France, he'd come from Egypt, so he was certainly not climatised for the cold. He was an Aussie boy, man, used to hot weather, who'd spent time in Egypt training or whatever they were doing over there. He was hospitalised in Egypt 3 times for sunstroke. So, he was definitely not ready for cold weather. He then came to France, was hospitalised with influenza, sent back to the front, and within a couple of weeks was dead. And you have to wonder, was he really fit enough to be here? But that's war, I suppose. You're just a number. I found a bit of material that talks about how he died, and witnesses in the field said that they were switching positions, reinforcing other groups, and a shell exploded over top of him, and they said he didn't have a scratch on him, he just died from shock. So I guess the shock of the explosion. So there were 3 letters from witnesses or fellow soldiers who had witnessed it, and they said he was buried in the trench where he fell, with another man who was buried beside him, and that was not right here, it was away from here. I was going to drive out there and have a look, but driving on these roads, I have to say, it's a little bit hectic. I thought it was going to be little country lanes, but it's actually kind of motorway, and I'm driving on the side of the road that I'm not used to, so it's a little bit stressful. Anyway, also I don't think I'm going to be able to pull over on the side of the road. Anyway, we might go for a bit of a spin and see what we can see, but that's Villers-Bretonneaux, and really just filming this for my dad. So yeah, thanks for watching. Whoops.